At first, it was hard to understand what was happening, but then it became clear. This pigeon had adopted this little puppy, a pigeon that can't fly and a puppy that can't walk. Have you ever seen a better pair? This is Paw Prints, and this is Lundy and Herman's story. Sue Rogers runs an animal rescue organization called the Foundation. Unlike most rescues, this one focuses specifically on animals with disabilities, the ones most people walk past, the ones shelters struggle to place. Every animal that comes through her door carries a story, some heavier than others. Lundy's story was one of them. 4 weeks old, barely 1 pound, he couldn't use his back legs. Sue, with all her experience, started him on physical therapy right away. His x-rays came back with some reassuring news: no spinal deformity, but an MRI was likely needed, and at 1 pound, he was just too small for that yet. In the meantime, Lundy was moved into a low playpen to keep him safe. Just as Sue was wondering if he might get lonely in there, Herman showed up and made himself at home right beside him. Herman's story wasn't so different. About 1.5 years ago, someone called Sue about a pigeon sitting in the same spot for 3 days. Herman had neurological issues. He couldn't fly, probably never would, just the kind of case Sue was made for. She brought him in and gave him his own space, but she made sure he spent time with the other animals too, so he could adjust and so he wouldn't have to feel alone. A pigeon who couldn't fly, living alongside animals who were also figuring out how to exist in a world not quite built for them. When Lundy arrived, Sue brought the two of them together. After just a few tries, something clicked. Fast. Unexpected. Herman moved toward Lundy, slowly, carefully, and then he did something that made Sue reach for her camera. He tried to get on top of him, to cover him, to mother him. Even for Sue, this pair was something else. How can two animals, a pigeon and a puppy, look that natural together? After that, Sue started bringing them together a few times a day, and Lundy was becoming more and more of a puppy, chewing on Herman, playing his own version of games. Now, you might think that would cause some trouble, given that they're not exactly the same species. But no, that's what made it so remarkable. No matter how much Lundy pestered him, Herman never seemed to mind, not even a little. Two animals, different worlds, somehow speaking the same language. They were becoming something to each other. Sue, who witnessed all of this firsthand, put it best herself. Everybody needs somebody, especially when you're not feeling good, or when you're just not 100%. When this story first hit social media about 6 years ago, it spread fast. It made the news because this bond was something people couldn't quite explain and couldn't look away from. As for where things stand today, Lundy is no longer with us, and for a long time after, Herman wasn't able to form that kind of bond with anyone else. But stories don't end with Sue. Years later, Herman has found a new friend, a dog named Mandy. And there's something else worth mentioning. Herman laid an egg. Sue says she never thought of him as female, and honestly, she was just as surprised as the rest of us. Though, looking back at all that mothering, maybe we should have seen it coming. Herman is now part of a new bond with Mandy, and in a way, her story reminds us that grief isn't easy, that it takes time, but that we still carry the capacity to form new connections, to start over, even when it hurts. Learning that from a pigeon's life story, not something any of us would have expected. And yet, we're glad some of these encounters happened, glad we got to witness them. Just like this one, you and us, right here, right now. Some encounters don't happen by accident.